Hello and welcome everybody to Civil 360. My name is Veer Pratap Singh. So my dear friends, in this session we shall be talking about the first one of the major mass movements that is going to happen in the Indian subcontinent, and that is going to shake the empire's foundations, that is going to shake the British Empire. And it was during this point of time that Mahatma Gandhi had made a statement that if we follow the Satyagraha and if you people follow the guidelines that I'm telling you, then within 1 year we shall be able to attain independence. And that was the statement, my dear friends, that was made by Mahatma Gandhi at that point of time. So that movement which we shall be talking about today, it is going to be in the context of the non-cooperation movement, non-cooperation and Khilafat movement. Okay, so both of these movements, if I tell you, the non-cooperation movement, it emerged in the 1920, and the Khilafat movement, it started in the year of 1980. Now, in the previous session, we had already discussed that by the time period by the time period of 1919, what all had happened. That means, if I talk about the time period of 1919, what had happened in the India and what had happened in the world level. So when we talk on this both scenarios, what can we understand here is that by the time period of 1919, what had happened is that the particular Rowlatt Act, okay, Rowlatt Act, it had come. That was one thing. Rowlatt Act had come, and then mass Rowlatt Satyagraha was done. Then against that, Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened. That is the thing that happened in the year of 1919. Okay, that is one of the major aspect. Moreover, what do we understand here is that during 1919 there was one another event that happened. That is the passing of the Montfort reforms. Now, if you remember the Home Rule movement, in the Home Rule movement, we had spoken about a particular thing that, like the 1907 Surat split, which happened when the Britishers had told that policy reforms were oncoming, at that point of time, also when the Home Rule movement was happening, the Britishers had told that we are bringing new policies, and that policy is going to be the Montagu Statement given in the 1917. And in the year of 1919, a new Government of India Act 1919 had come, and that was known as the Montfort reforms. Simultaneously, by the time period of 1919, what had happened is that Gandhi ji, okay, he had created a very mass nationalistic aspect in the Indian area. All right, that was there, and there was also the aftermath, the after effects of the World War One, after effect of the World War One. Whereas at the international level, when we talk about 1919 time period, so what do we understand is that the World War One had ended, and in that World War One ended, the lost countries, okay, they were majorly Turkey and Germany. The lost countries, they were Turkey and Germany. Whereas the winning countries, they are going to be the Britain and its allies. Britain and its allies. So this is going to be the scenario in the First World War end. And here there is going to be one particular treaty that is going to be done. And that treaty was known as the Treaty of Versailles. Treaty of Versailles, that was imposed by these particular countries on Germany, and it was an initiative to reduce the particular, it was an initiative to reduce the what do you say, the armament initiatives of the Germany at that point of time. It was to reduce the armament initiatives of Germany at that point of time. All right, so that is going to be the scenario, okay, that we talk at that point of time generally. Now, when we talk of this, apart from this aspect, in the time period of 1919 also, so that another world war does not happen, one international organization was also created, and that international organization was known as the League of Nations. So as to prevent a future world war, League of Nations was also created. So this was the scenario by the time period of 1919. Moreover, in India, because of the rising nationalism, the Britishers, they had also taken various steps in order to curb the nationalism. Curb the nationalism. So that was also a step that was taken by the Britishers. Now, what is going to happen that from all of these aspects, from all of these developments in India, what we can understand is that in India, by the time period of 1919, the situation was that in India there is going to be the rising nationalism. In India, there is going to be a rise in the nationalism, and also there is going to be a rise in the hatred for Britishers. The Indians are also hating the Britishers. Why? Because of all these aspects. That means after war effect was also there. Okay, the ways the Britishers were adopting to curb the nationalism, the way the Britishers had done the Jallianwala Bagh. So by the time period of 1919, we had an increasing nationalism in India, but simultaneously we were also increasing the hatred in India for the Britishers. That was one another aspect. Now, apart from that, at the world level, there was one major incident that was going on at that point of time, and that particular world level, it is going to be in the scenario that, okay, that particular world level, it is going to be in the scenario that what is going to happen here is when the Turkey and Germany had lost. Okay, so in the Turkey area, in the area of Turkey, there was the religious head of Islam who is going to preside at that point of time. And that religious head of Islam is basically known as the Khalifa. Now, what happened is that here the when Turkey had lost, so a lot of areas that were there with Turkey, those areas were taken and it was given over to the victors, and that led to the disrespect of the Khalifa. Now you might be wondering how that would lead to a disrespect of the Khalifa. For example, if this much is my area, for example, consider that I am a king. Okay, and because I am a king, I have a luxurious lifestyle. Okay, consider me that I am a particular religious personality wherein people of my area, they respect me a lot. So what would happen is that I am a king also, and people of my area respect me a lot. And it is said that I have 100 Rolls Royce. I have 100 Rolls Royce. Now, in order to maintain and sustain my luxurious lifestyle of 100 Rolls Royce, what happens is that I have this much areas revenue coming to me in order to sustain myself. But at that point of time, I have a war with somebody, and because of that war, what is going to happen is that my area afterwards, it is just going to become this much. So will I be able to sustain my Rolls Royce, 100 Rolls Royce? Obviously not. I will not be able to sustain. So my number of Rolls Royce, it will reduce to, I guess, 20, maybe 30, or maybe 40. So that means that my lifestyle has reduced. And if my lifestyle will reduce, will my followers like it that my lifestyle has reduced? Obviously not. My followers are not going to like it. So at that point of time, what happened is that in the world over, there were Muslim people in the world over. So in the whole world, what happened is that because of the reduction of the self-respect of the Khalifa, because of the Khalifa being put in such position by the Britishers who were the victors, because the Britishers had snatched a lot of land from the Khalifa, at that point of time, the people in the world over, they are going to start the Khilafat movement in various colonies of Britain. So even India had a sizable number of Muslim people in India. So how could Indian Muslims, they could stay aloof from that particular aspect? So what happened is that in the year of 1919, when this thing happened, so even in India, there was the rising tension amongst the Muslims who are going to come together and they are going to launch the All India Khilafat Committee. A sizable number of Muslim intellectuals, the Muslim politicians, they are going to come together and they are going to launch the All India Khilafat Committee. Now, when they come together and launch the All India Khilafat Committee, what happens is that here there is going to be one demand of the All India Khilafat Committee, and that demand, it is going to be from the Britishers. And what are they demanding from the Britishers is that British people, British government, if you do not give back the areas of Turkey to Turkey, and if you do not, do a respectable treaty with Turkey, we are not going to, bow down. Means we are not going to cooperate with you guys. So kindly, give a respectable, favorable terms of treaty with the to the Turkey. And like that, the All India Khilafat Committee launched a particular movement, and that was known as Khilafat Movement in the year of 1919. That is how the Khilafat movement came into picture.